Good morning, everyone. This is Sarah of the HealthyHomeEconomist.com, and for dinner this evening, I'm going to be making curried lentil soup, one of my family's absolute favorites. It's going to be very cold tonight and this weekend, so wonderful, hearty soup is of great benefit on such cold nights. And also, there's tummy bugs going around town, so getting a wonderful soup that's made with traditional chicken stock is good because frequent consumption of a gelatin-based homemade chicken stock very much protects your family from intestinal illness, and that is something that I try to incorporate into our meals so that we eat a lot of it during the winter and flu months. So let me show you how to make a lentil soup. First of all, you have to soak your lentils, right? Because they're a legume, and like all legumes, they have antinutrients in the hulls of the legume. And I've got some beautiful red lentils here. I usually make my curried lentil soup with green lentils, but the store did not have any organic green lentils, so I'm actually making it for the very first time with these red lentils. So hopefully it'll turn out well. Have a little experiment going. I've actually got 3 cups of these red lentils, and the first thing you want to do to soak them, to eliminate the anti-nutrients, to improve digestibility, and to unlock the nutrition so that when you eat it, it will be much easier to digest, is to soak it, of course. And the first thing you want to do is add water. I'm going to add a little bit more water here. Make sure you use filtered water. Do not use tap. And I'm going to add 1 more cup because the lentils will expand as they're being soaked. They'll get larger, so you want to put a little bit more water in there than you might think. And stir it up a little bit. And then I am actually out of liquid whey. Liquid whey is what I usually use to soak, but since I'm out of liquid whey, you can substitute raw apple cider vinegar. And I'm going to put in 3 tablespoons to soak 3 cups of lentils. And adding this acidity to the water is what will break down the anti-nutrients in the lentils. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover this. I'm going to leave it right here on the counter. It's now 10 o'clock in the morning, so I'm going to leave this to soak until dinner time. And then I'm going to take the soaked lentils and cook it up and make lentil soup with it, and we'll pick up at that point. Hi everyone, we're back. And I soaked the lentils in the last little part of this video, but guess what? It's been 2 days. Okay, I left them on the counter for about 10 hours. You're supposed to soak them around 7 to 18 hours, something like that. And I soaked them for 7 hours, and I realized that I was just not going to be able to get back to shooting the rest of this video. So did I fret? No, you don't fret. You don't say, oh, I don't have time to soak lentils. This traditional cooking thing is too hard. I can't plan ahead enough to soak the lentils. No, what you do, and what I did, it's no big deal. Life happens. You just have to roll with it, is I strained out all the water, the soaking water. I put more water in there to rinse the lentils, and I drained it again. I put the lid on it, and I stuck it in the refrigerator. So it's been sitting in the refrigerator for 2 days, so I've got soaked lentils ready to go, and I'm just picking up where I left off 2 days later. So that's how you roll with it with traditional cooking, and the reason we can do that is because we have technology. Traditional peoples didn't have refrigerators, they didn't have running water in the kitchen. You can make use of all these wonderful modern tools that we have to make traditional cooking so much easier and so much more efficient than it ever was years ago, 100, 200 years ago. So make use of the refrigerator. If you soak some stuff and you wanted to make it for dinner and it just doesn't happen, just drain it, rinse it, and shove it in the refrigerator until you get to it, okay? So don't worry about it. So here we got the lentils ready to go. Now that we have soaked lentils, you can either cook the lentils until they're soft and use them for whatever dish you'd like, make it into hummus or whatever. I'm sorry, lentils don't go into hummus. Chickpeas do. But just make it into whatever lentil-based dish you want. In this case, I'm going to use the lentils to make lentil soup. We really like curried lentil soup in our home, so I'm going to quickly show you how to do that. Once you've got the lentils soaked, which we do, you're going to chop 3 onions, and I've chopped them beforehand because if you've never chopped an organic onion, wow, it'll really make you cry. I mean, they're very strong. Organic onions are much stronger than regular store onions. So I chopped them beforehand so I could kind of cry in peace. And I also chopped 3 organic carrots, okay? Chop those. Then the next thing we want to do is we want to get a nice big pot and we want to turn it on medium to high heat. We're going to put in 2 tablespoons approximately of butter. Do I measure it out? No, I don't. I just, chunk it in there. Err on the side of too much when it comes to butter. Always err on the side of too much. Then I take my extra virgin olive oil. I'm also going to put 2 tablespoons of that in there. Do I measure it? I tend not to. I tend to just guesstimate with it. So now that looks like about 2 tablespoons. So I'm going to stir that around, get that going on the bottom of the pot, and then I'm going to put in my carrots. And my onions, which this is going to be tricky. So I've got all the carrots and onion and butter and olive oil in there. I'm going to put the lid on, and I'm going to simmer this for about 20 to 30 minutes until everything is nice and soft. Ooh, those onions are strong. My eyes are starting to water again. So you're going to simmer until everything is nice and soft, and we're going to pick it up then, and we're going to finish up this soup in just a matter of minutes. Well, we've cooked our onions and carrots now. They're nice and soft, having cooked in the olive oil and the butter for a few minutes. And once they got kind of simmering, I turned it down to low heat, and it took about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. The next step is to take 2 quarts of stock, and in this I have a mixture of chicken and turkey stock. Feel free to mix stock. If you don't have enough chicken stock or enough beef stock or whatever, feel free to mix. A lot of times I have actually not found any of my recipes to be not good with one type of stock. They may taste a little different, but it seems like stock always produces a great product. So don't worry about mixing stocks if you need to get as much stock as you need. So right here I have about 1 quart of chicken and 1 quart of turkey stock. I'm going to pour this into the big pot with the onions and the chicken. I'm going to turn the heat back up to medium to high. And I'm going to take these lentils that we have soaked in step 1, and I'm going to put them all. It looks like a lot of lentils, does it? But we're making a big pot of lentil soup. Pour all these lentils into this soup. We're going to mix it up. Now the next step is we're going to bring this to a boil, and there's going to be a ton of foam that comes off the top of these lentils, and we're going to skim it off because that's all the impurities, more impurities even, because we got a ton of impurities off the lentils when we soaked them. We're going to get even more when we cook them. You can see why you need 2 steps to make lentils nutrient dense and digestible. So we'll pick this up when this comes to a boil, and we'll show you what the foam looks like. The lentils have come to a boil with the stock and the onions and the carrots, and as you can see, I'm going to skim off this foam because these are off flavors. You want to get rid of this foam because this will make your soup taste a lot better if you can get rid of all this foam, okay? Or at least most of it. Don't, go crazy and drive yourself insane trying to get every little tiny bit. Just get as close as you can. Don't worry about it if you don't get every little bit. There, I've got about 95% of it. That's all you need to do. And then you're going to give it a quick stir. And then put the lid on. We're going to turn it down to medium to low heat. We're going to simmer this for about 20 minutes. And then we'll put the final touches on our jumbo pot of lentil soup. The lentils have been simmering for about 20 minutes. So the next step is to add our curry. Now you do not need to do this step. If you don't like curry, skip the curry. You can just have plain lentil soup. But we do like curry in our house, so I'm going to add, I like green curry in our lentil soup. You can also use red curry. Yellow curry is also fine. Massaman curry is also fine. Use any of those. But for this particular one, I prefer green curry, so I'm going to put in a couple of tablespoons of green curry paste. If you don't know where to get that, your Asian store in town is probably a great place to go. An Indian store would be good as well. And just go ahead and stir that in while it's still simmering on the stove. It will dissolve very, very quickly in the hot soup. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to move this off the heat, turn off the burner, and the last step is to add some fresh lemon juice, if you desire to, 1/8 of a cup to 1/4 of a cup approximately. And then you're going to want to add some good quality sea salt. I have Himalayan sea salt here. You can see it's pink. If you have a sea salt and it's white, guess what? It's not sea salt. It's refined salt that they call sea salt. It's a marketing gimmick. So make sure that you go get sea salt that has color to it. It's either gray, blue, pink, a mixture of colors. In this case, I'm just going to sprinkle in a little bit of Himalayan sea salt. And I also really like green peppercorns. So I've got some organic green peppercorns here that I'm going to freshly grind into the soup. Stir that in. Then the last step is really to let this sit for a while and to cool down. And once it's cooled down to the point where, you know, it's really not a burning, it's nice and warm, but it's not too hot, then you're going to take this, a handheld blender. And if you are embarking on your traditional cooking adventure and you don't have one of these in your kitchen, put this on your holiday gift list right now, because you need one of these. Because what this allows you to do is to blend this soup right in the pot without transferring it to a blender or a Vitamix or something else. You can blend it right here in the pot and get your soup ready to go. So make sure you get a handheld blender if you don't have one already. So that's the next thing I'm going to do, is I'm going to cool this down and then I'm just going to blend it right in the pot and we're done. So that is how you soak lentils, make them into a quick dish. We've got a gallon of soup here now. We'll probably only use 1/4 of it for dinner. And then once it's completely cooled down, I'll put it in quart containers. I'll freeze the soup in quart containers, and there is your healthy fast food. When you've got an evening where you're crazy, you can't get your meal, you don't have any time to cook, you can quickly pull that quart of pre-prepared lentil soup out of the freezer, open it up, thaw it right on the stove, get it ready to go, get a piece of wonderful sourdough bread and some butter, and you've got dinner. So this is how traditional cooking works in our home. I hope you've learned something from this lesson on how to soak lentils traditionally and make it into curried lentil soup. This is Sarah, the Healthy Home Economist, and I'm wishing you all the best in the kitchen.